listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio, hosted by Steve Jenny and his satanic assistant, Alex Houdini, both of whom can't go into churches without vomiting.
Alrighty, we're back. We're back here for another Sunday evening. Hey, welcome everybody on the New Visions Radio Network, and of course, if you're watching us here on our YouTube channel, welcome. This evening we've got first-time guest Tommy Tombstone. How are you?
I'm good. That music definitely gave like John Carpenter vibes.
Yeah, I know. White Bad Audio, man. He's awesome, man. I like.
Oh, it was White Bad. Okay.
Yeah.
I've
It's
used his stuff in the past.
Oh, he's amazing. Amazing stuff. Absolutely amazing. But our intro is done by a guy named James Scott, who another brilliant musician as well. I got to give him kudos. Always do. Now, with Tommy Tombstone, like you know, you're a digital creator. You investigate the paranormal. Where did it all begin with you? Like, I mean, where did your journey begin with, A, the paranormal, and B, Tommy Tombstone?
Well, that's a good question. I had no intentions of ever doing paranormal, actually. I started out doing films back in the day, like pre-high school. Like junior high school, I started making like horror short films. So I was obviously, that's why I like the John Carpenter styled music. I was into films like that, stuff that John Carpenter made, Halloween, The Thing, etc., all those good ones. So yeah, I made probably about 5 or 6 throughout junior high and high school with just a bunch of buddies. And do you want the short story or the long story?
Hey, whatever story you want to do.
We got 2 hours to go, so go ahead.
Okay. So I made these horror short films. I met a buddy of mine who's actually my cameraman to this day. He got me into all these films, and then we started making films because him and a bunch of his buddies made these horror short films at the school that I went to, and they would premiere them in town. So, I saw these, started making these films as well. And then I guess fast forward to like after high school, so I've had a YouTube channel since 2009, not the one I have now currently, but I made a second YouTube channel and started posting some short films on there. And then it was around 2020 when COVID hit, and obviously everyone knows how that went. So it came to the point where, they had all the lockdowns and stuff like that. So I was like, man, I don't really know how I'm going to make any of these short films because everyone's kind of stuck where they're at.
Yeah.
So, I was dating a girl at the time, and I've always been into like creepy horror related stuff. And I've always had a huge interest in cemeteries. So I decided, well, I might try something different. So I started this like vloggy type series called Tommy Amongst the Tombstones, which is the name I still have now. And we would just go to various local cemeteries that are deemed haunted. And, I didn't buy the shit whatsoever. I didn't believe in paranormal. I never watched any of the shows. I didn't even know who like Ghost Adventures was, Zach Bagans, any of that. So we would go there and document the stuff. I had fun doing it. Well, after a couple of times of doing it, stuff actually started happening, and I was like, maybe this stuff actually might be real. And the more and more I kept doing it, the more stuff I would capture. And then when I started off, I didn't even have any gear. We just went there with cameras and would be like, is there any ghosts here, any spirits here? And it started off with like noises, and then eventually I started hearing like voices, and I thought I was maybe going crazy. And then eventually I made a PayPal account and bought a paranormal music box and a spirit box, SP7, which everyone should know that by now. And I went bankrupt on PayPal, never paid it back, and still making payments on that today. But those are the 2 first pieces of equipment that I bought.
Yeah.
And from then on I fell in love with it and been going hard ever since.
Yeah, you gotta love it. Like,
It's
yeah,
always the voices that hook you in, though, man.
it is. It is. Yeah. But I mean, I love the beginnings. With the horror. I'm a big horror nut. Been for
I can see the
years.
posters in the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
background.
You can see the Fulci in the background, huh? Yeah. And primarily that's where I started. I started in film. I worked in film for several years, and then I began working. You know, normally because things happen when things dry up, but I kept my foot in the door, and I said, look it, I gotta start doing my own thing, kind of thing. And that's what I've been doing. But yeah, and so, well, I ended up, merging the two, the paranormal and my background. But mine was a little, um you know it's been a little longer of a journey. But and I guess I kind of see that with you, because that's like I said, when I was watching your stuff, and I'm like, wow, this, I can understand why people are drawn to the way your content is presented, because it's like, wow, this is, I love the way the presentation is. And you do a great job with the content and the camera work. And so, what are you guys using? Like, let me ask you, you're renting a red, what do you primarily use to shoot like a bulk of the footage?
Yeah. So, before I get to that, a lot of
Yeah.
people do ask me this too, because I think you asked this before I spoke all that nonsense. But if people ask me how did you get the name Tommy Tombstone?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
before, like, even I was into film, I played drums for years. I used to be in a couple bands, a couple punk
nice.
bands,
Hmm.
and so I came up with it. I don't even remember how I came up with the name, but that was like kind of my stage name was Tommy Tombstone.
Yeah.
So I kind of carried that over into the paranormal because it fit perfectly.
Hmm.
So that's kind of how I came up with the name Tommy Tombstone. As far as the cameras, I started out when I first did like the vloggy stuff, starting out my channel. I used a Sony A6000,
Okay. Yeah.
which it was a decent camera. I mean,
Hmm.
they've expanded so much more
Hmm.
since then. But now I use with my cameraman John. Shout out to John. He uses and I use as well. We both use Blackmagic Pocket
Yeah,
Cinema
yeah, yeah, yeah.
cameras.
Okay.
So I have the 4K version. He has the 6K, but we only shoot in 1080
Okay.
because it's just a pain in the ass to shoot in 4K and then edit it on the computer. It's just my computer would blow up. So that's
Exactly.
what we use. And John is the guy that got me into making like horror films and stuff as well.
Yeah. And how are those cameras in low light? They
Oh,
seemingly
they're
pretty good.
really, really good. Really, really
Yeah.
good.
Awesome.
I,
Yeah.
I I love the camera to death. The
Yeah.
only thing
Yeah.
that sucks is you only are able to shoot in manual focus.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of a pain, especially if you're trying to teach someone how to use it, because you constantly have to go with the lens. Like, at least on mine, it's on the lens. With
Yep.
his, there's like a little switch you can do it right on the side or on the front.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I was looking at those cameras. They look pretty cool. Look pretty cool. I
They're
mean,
very, very pricey.
well, yeah, and you can see why, right? I mean, they do the job, and they're literally, well, hey, if they're pricey, but they're like a budget version of red cameras.
Mhm.
Like, and how much you're
There
gonna
was a
pay
lot
for
of
another.
independent films that were actually made off Blackmagic cameras.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know
Yep.
that.
Yeah. I know it. They seem really, really cool. I've never used one, so I've been wondering. So that's cool to know. That's really cool to know. So okay, so you know now that you've sort of made that transition into the paranormal, if you will,
Mhm.
and people like, okay, so how are things changed with you in terms of the paranormal and how you look at it now, and with presenting stuff?
It's I've learned a lot, honestly, from film with the paranormal, because
Hmm.
obviously making a short film, horror styled short film, or whatever you want to call it, is
Hmm.
a lot different than shooting like a paranormal investigation slash documentary. So I've learned a lot of cool new techniques as
Yeah.
far as like with interviews. I can shoot an interview all day. I got the right angles for that. And then like B rolls, you know how B rolls go.
Hmm.
It took me a minute to kind of understand the right angles and shots for it. especially with John. I watched a lot of how John did it.
Yeah.
Because he usually shoots most of my B-roll.
Okay.
I kind of make him. But I shoot it too when he's not there. But I learned a lot from him, I will say. But yeah, I've definitely learned a lot more with film doing these paranormal investigations rather than doing films, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So what you do most of the editing?
I do all the editing.
You do
John just shoots the investigations. He shoots the B-rolls usually. And then I do every video I put out, I've done all the editing.
So all post is you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. And I must say, you do a pretty good job.
No, I appreciate
like I said, watching the latest. And I think Alex, you're kind of intrigued with the whole, the remains being used for the Ouija board sessions.
Yeah.
I was honestly. Oh wait, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was honestly kind of scared to put that video out. I didn't know if you didn't know, I actually got partnered with Scare Network TV. Have you heard of them?
I've heard of them.
It's like Paraflix. It's another version of Paraflix, essentially, more newer. So I got one of my films on there, and I was thinking about releasing it on there because YouTube's so anal and just, I guess, prissy about any little thing nowadays. And I was honestly scared to put it on YouTube because I didn't know if there would be, and I don't really want to get all into it, but I didn't know if there could be any legal actions from how we went about that. But I decided to say, fuck it and do it. So,
but I mean, to be honest, like watching it, I see what you're saying, treading lightly with it. But I mean, I felt, I didn't really see any disrespecting or anything towards that. And I could see how wanting to use it as a trigger item, because I mean, let's face it, given the location and giving that sort of, I mean, they were already lying there. They're already laying around. I mean, it's not like you brought them in from some other, location and said, "Hey, let's use these as a trigger item." They were there. They're, for you, I guess, you to use. So to speak.
If you want a little background about it, so Randy and I worked. Randy, who's in my video, he's probably watching this right now. He does all the videos with me. We both used to work together not too long ago at this factory type job, I guess if you want to call it that. And one of our bosses knew we were both into paranormal and did videos. He would watch our videos here and there, and he was like, "Hey, I got this house that I kind of watch over, and if you guys want, I've had a few things strange happen there, but if you guys want to come out and do it, I'll let you guys come and do it." So we're like, yeah. And then he just drops the ball and is like, yeah, also there's the two people that lived in there also died. Well, the one guy, the doctor, died in there. He's like, yeah, I got their ashes here, and if you guys want, you can use them. And Randy and I were both like, yeah, sure. So, I mean, like we got permission to do the place, right?
Yeah.
The doctor and most of his family's dead now. I think one of his family members lives in like California or something.
Okay.
But like, it is what it is now. So, and I knew for a fact, like if you're dealing with like legitimate human remains, someone's ashes, like I was saying in the video, like there's got to be something attached to it. There's got to be some sort of energy attached to this. So I knew right from the get-go that, I thought stuff was going to be weird, and it was way more than I expected. It got pretty effed up there. And I didn't put it in the video, and it was off camera, but I got super affected that we went there 2 nights.
2 nights?
Right? 2 nights. That was filmed in 2 nights. The first night, I had nightmares so bad. I had anxiety. It was bad. Like I felt like weird. Like I almost didn't want to go back. And then he was like, "Hey, you guys want to come back? You can." I was like, "Well, it was so good, but I feel like we didn't get enough still." And at that point, you know, I haven't gone through all the footage to see like, holy shit. And then so we went back. Now the second night, it was a lot different what you saw in the video, but I wasn't affected as much the second night as I was the first night. But either way, I think we opened up something through the spirit board and using I think we opened up something rather dark. I don't know who. I don't think it was the doctor. Who knows? But yeah, overall, I was blown away by that place. Blown away.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, like it's you know, it's their home, and like you said, you know, the remains, of course. I mean, sure, the remains might be considered, you know, the physical sort of leftovers of their essence, if you will, but it's their energy. It's probably still there because it, you know, it's a place that they lived in for so long. Maybe that was their favorite place. Who knows, right? But the fact being that most likely, yeah, hey, they're still there in some way or fashion, right? I mean, Alex, what do you think about this? Because I mean, you know, you've used the Ouija board several times. Yeah.
The remains probably doesn't have as much of an impact in my eyes.
Yeah.
It's a vessel like anything else. The whole point, if I'm looking at this in the sense of we do continue on, the body is just a vessel. You continue on, you go wherever you want, wherever you're comfortable. I mean, at the end of the day, if I were to die in a hospital, it doesn't mean I'm going to stay at the hospital. I'm going to go where where I feel comfortable, right? Which is my home, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the remains act as a beacon. I don't know. That's possible. But after it's been cremated, I don't know, man. That's kind of tough. You know. I was going to ask you, Tommy, though. Did you like sprinkle some of the remains on the spirit board when you were playing?
That's funny that you say that because I actually originally, now the guy that let us do it, I asked him and he gave us a straight up no, but I actually intended on sprinkling it and cutting open my finger with blood and doing it.
There you go.
But he said straight up no, so we never did that.
That's too bad, man. You could have gotten some more deep rooted results.
I know. Well, I mean, just imagine what kind of results you'd get. Something. Maybe you might have had some really, really fucked up dreams going on the next night, man. Holy shit.
Oh yeah.
Making that kind of connection.
I wanted to push the boundaries with this one.
Well, that's definitely, yeah.
And I feel like you said, who knows if I would have done it the way he just said, like if it would have made it worse. But I think it was enough for what we did. The activity that we received, it was just, I mean, that was probably one of the craziest, if not the craziest investigations I've ever done. And it was at a place that no one knew it was haunted or even no one knows about.
Well, those are the best places.
I know. I was just going to say, yeah,
those are the best places. I mean,
they haven't been tainted by everybody.
No.
I mean, I've been to like hundreds of well-known places throughout North America, and you know, I always enjoy the lesser known, the diamond in the roughs, the one that you're like, wow, okay, how come nobody's ever heard of this before? You know, I mean,
some of the best evidence I've ever received is at like no name locations, like under the table type of stuff.
Absolutely.
Rather than your like Conjuring House, you know, Waverly Hills Sanatorium type places, like low key places is like the best stuff, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Waverly, and I mean, we did get some really, really cool stuff, but for the most part,
but it feels more satisfying getting evidence at these places rather than the bigger places, you know.
I'll tell you, Tommy, when we were there, this is in the beginning when they first started opening it up to the public, and we had because I was good friends with somebody who was working security there, we were able to get in there and do a private investigation. But I'm telling you, man, like I was kind of let down. I was the whole time we were, you know, in there working hard, trying to get some, you know, something going, and it just seemed like nothing happened. And
where was it? Where was this at?
Waverly Hills.
Oh, Waverly Hills. Okay.
And I remember, we got home, we went through all the hours upon hours of footage that we recorded, audio and visual, and then all of a sudden things just popped out of the woodwork, and you're like, wow, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. So I mean, yeah, real time, it might be seemingly disastrous, but when you're reviewing, because I know a lot, like now it's a lot different with investigating. It's changed so much in the past 20 years. I've been doing this for 25, almost 30 years. And I'm telling you, it's changed a lot. Now people want real-time results, and they do get kind of real-time results. Reviewing, because now you have all these, the REM pods and all these things that sort of react to the environment, and you're able to see this stuff and hear the stuff on, the spirit boxes, the
Well,
talking box, all sorts of stuff. Go ahead.
When you first started, what type of gear did they have? Like, what did you use when you first started?
When I first started, we had K2 meters. We had spirit boxes. They were called Frank boxes, or Radio Shack hacks, because literally there was literally none of this equipment that you see now was really even around. I mean, we're pretty much grassroots.
He even had the reel-to-reel magnetic tape recorder.
Yeah, we used the what were they? What are those things called? The Etch-a-Sketches.
Etch-a-Sketch, yeah. By the way, Tommy, Butters says you should mention the Bell Guinness's property. Gunnison's.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that, Butters, actually, if you want me to.
Okay.
I don't know if you want me to talk about it now, but
sure, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so Butters in here. I've investigated with him. He's one of my friends. So we, one of the coolest places I've ever been to, as far as investigating, was I got the opportunity to investigate the Bell Gunnis property in LaPorte, Indiana. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that.
No,
probably not. No one ever does.
Yeah.
So this is, and more people should. Have you heard of Jeffrey Dahmer?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, more people should know about Bell Gunnis because it's up in that level. Like it's effed up. So if you look, all you have to do is just look up Bell Gunnis on Google. You'll find every information you need to know about her. So she was a female serial killer.
Oh, wow.
She lived on this farm in LaPorte, and if you want to read more about it, but she basically would kill these guys, and she would bury them on their farm. And there was said that she possibly killed up to 40 men. And she would also, they said that she would feed them to her hogs on the farm.
Yeah, kind of sounds like somebody here in Canada.
Yeah. I was just going to say.
The pig farmer in BC, same scenario. Go ahead.
Well, most people don't know because, this happened late 1800s, early 1900s.
Oh, okay.
So every time I ask, no one knows who she is. But if you look it up, you'll see the whole story. In LaPorte, too, there's the LaPorte County Museum. So we got to interview the historian who knows the whole Bell Gunnis story. They have an exhibit on her. They actually have one of the skulls that were found on the farm of one of the victims. Wow. People came from all around the world after. And there's a crazy story. The crazy thing about it is they never found her. The house burned down. So let me get to So we investigated the property, right?
Yeah.
The house that she lived in burnt down, right? So all that's left of this property is the basement. The original basement is still there. The house, there's another house built on top of it. So when that house burnt down, they found, what was it, Butters? Was it 3 or 4 people in the basement? One lady, they were all children, but the one lady was with her head decapitated. And they still don't know if it's Bell or not. So they still don't know to this day. I mean, if you want to take the time to read and about it and everything, just look it on Google. It's a fascinating story. So anyways, we did the property. It was nuts. It was crazy. I mean, we were getting disembodied voices outside when there was crickets going real crazy. This was when was this? Sometime last year in the fall.
Okay.
I don't even remember. But yeah, it was nuts. It was the coolest opportunity to do like a serial killer's property, and just being in there, you could just feel it right when you walk on the property. It's insane. It was just so surreal.
So when you okay, so a lot of the stuff, okay, let me I guess distinguish the difference between what you're presenting and what you're doing, say real time, like with your investigations in terms of audio.
Mhm.
Now, audio, like you collect your audio as pretty much anyone else does. You record and then you review, or what do you do? Do you review on right there? Do you have real time? How do you review your say your audio findings?
Yeah, so first of all, EVPs are my favorite thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
If I could do a whole investigation doing EVPs, I would. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times I mostly do. But I like, yeah, sometimes I'll catch them with the camera audio,
Yeah.
but not so often. I like using the recorders.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll do some like a minute
Okay.
recording, maybe
Yeah.
two,
Mhm.
and then we'll do it right there. We'll review it right there on camera, because I like getting it like in real time where people can see our reactions and everything
Yeah.
for if there's one in there. So that's usually what I do. I mean, occasionally I have done in the past where we'll do like a long one. I'll set it in a room and let it sit for like 20, 25 minutes. And if
Yeah.
there's something in there, then I'll put it in the video. But usually I like to do it in real time so there's no bullshit. Everyone knows, you can see my reaction, everyone else's reaction. That's generally how I like to do it.
And
And
what?
a lot of people have told me that I have a gift. I don't know.
Okay.
I get this from a lot of people, that because generally when I go to places,
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot of EVPs. Like this next video that I have coming out, it's like a fucking EVP clinic.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I love it to death. It's my favorite. I think it's the best paranormal evidence you can get, besides catching a full blown apparition on
Well,
camera.
yeah, I agree. It's always been my favorite.
Like the REM pods and stuff, they're all cool and gimmicky, like they're whatever. But is it really accurate? Is the
Well,
way I look at it? I mean,
that's the thing. I mean, yeah, they're great, and they're a tool, I guess. But do you really conduct your investigation on? I don't know. Yeah, I like to hear something, audio wise, EVP wise, or yeah, if you do capture something visually, which is a lot more rare, but EVPs, oh wow, uh, you know, some of the stuff that I've captured over the years has just been bone chilling, you know. But
it just it blows your mind. Like it's just like, how does this even happening right now? When
yeah,
no one in the room was saying anything, and there's this full sentence that comes through. You're like, what is that?
yeah, what
Who's saying?
exactly? You see, again, when I started, they had this classification, class A, class B, class C, and I always got a kick out of that. I'm like, really? And some of the people that would come forward with, class A EVPs, you're like, wow, those are terrible.
Oh yeah, they'd be
But
like, this is a Class A EVP, and you're like,
yeah,
I couldn't even hear anything.
and they would force you to hear it. They'd suggest, like, obviously, when you say something, you're suggesting, you're contaminating a person's thought. But I mean, whatever. I mean, it's different when you're presenting in the content that you're presenting it. It's a little different that way, obviously. So, but it's always been my favorite. And I think it's been, the favorite of a lot of people who really
Well,
enjoy
here's
them.
a question that I will ask you guys too.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of controversy over this.
Mhm.
Do you guys prefer like the older recorders, or do you guys like those new fancy ones with like the big ass mics on the top? Or like, you got to use those ones because they're real clear and they give out the best, like, credible audio? Because I'll let you answer that first.
Do you want me to be honest? So some of the
Go ahead.
some of the best EVPs that I've ever captured over the years, and I don't use them so much anymore because it's harder to get the material, and that's with a tape recorder,
Like an old tape recorder.
an old tape recorder. The theory is because it's magnetic, right? But that's not to say digital recorders. I've had a lot of success with digital recorders, and you know what? To be honest, it could be like a cheap dollar store recorder, or it could be, a Zoom H4 or whatever, whatever, a studio sort of recorder. I've captured, some really cool stuff all over the place. And again, you talk about capturing it on video, a video audio, right? The same thing, right? I mean,
Mhm.
we used to use, I don't want to say years ago, because we kept using them up until we were able to get the tapes, a digital high 8. Digital high 8 was like a magnet for EVPs, you know. So I'm kind of impartial. I mean, either or. I can't
Okay.
really,
How do
say.
you feel about the DR60s?
How do I feel about them? I don't think
Yeah,
I've ever.
I was gonna get. You never used them, probably. I
No,
mean,
I haven't used one
for
yet.
the
No.
price.
Yeah, yeah.
I I'm a little iffy on them.
Yeah.
I think they can capture EVPs, but I think a lot of it's BS, and people are like, "Did you hear that?" And it's just like, it said my name, and it's just like, it's like, dude, that didn't say your name, man. Like, people just overhype them, I think, in my opinion. But I do think they can capture EVPs just like any other recorder. But in my opinion, I prefer the older ones.
Mm.
Now, I haven't used like an old tape recorder, but the ones I use, the one I've used since like forever now is like an old Olympus recorder, probably like early 2000s, if that's
I love
old to
them.
you guys. But
And I
I don't
think
know.
I think I kind of said that to you in your last live chat there, I think it was, or no, not your live, but when you premiered
Premiere.
premiered the last video, we were talking. I kind of chatted and said, "Hey, what kind of recorder you use?" You said Olympus. I said, "Yeah, they're
Yeah,
pretty
I
cool."
just started using a Olympus note quarter is what it's called,
Yeah,
and I've already gotten some stuff on that, and I like it a lot. It's easy to reverse and forward back, and you can slow it down, which
yeah,
is really nice, really
yeah,
easily.
yeah. They're good, and I mean, I still have an old Olympus hanging around somewhere. I mean, for the most part, I kind of use quite a lot. H4 and H2s, right? But like I said, I'll use whatever. I still even have an old Radio Shack hack. Not that
My
I.
one buddy uses those. Is it
Oh yeah,
white? Yeah.
yeah, it's a white one, and I mean I've had that thing, God, since I think like 2004 or 5.
They sound great though. Like, they're a lot more quiet than like spirit boxes and stuff.
Oh,
Like your typical
absolutely,
spirit box. I've
absolutely.
always
Well,
liked them, but they're kind of harder to find now,
they're
unless you
harder to
like just.
find, but the thing is, they were built to be exactly what they're used for. Now you've got all these variations out there now, and people don't understand. I mean, a K2 meter or any kind of EMF meter is automatically in their brain a ghost detector. And
Mhm.
if you had any brains, you'd understand that you don't use that to detect ghosts. You use that to explain what is happening in that environment. To use it for what it's really used for, and the possibility that it may be picking up something that may
I
not be explainable.
Randy and I don't even use K2s really anymore. I
Yeah.
said I said the hell with them. We use those. I don't know what that's called. It's like a digital one, but
Yeah.
what's nice, it will read EMF, but also read like the amount of electricity, so you can see if it's bullshit or not. Right there on the screen.
Kind of like
Because
a
the K2 is like,
tri-field.
yeah, like a
Mm.
tri-field meter
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
Because like the
And
K2s, it's like, how can you tell if that's actually a ghost? Like,
come on.
it's a beginner's thing, but I mean,
You put it
I
you
wouldn't
put it
recommend it.
Yeah, you put it beside your cell phone or the REM pod and watch it go
Mhm.
off.
Oh,
Gee,
yeah.
how come it keeps lighting up like that? Can you
Yeah,
do that again?
exactly.
Sure, no problem.
That REM pod sounds like a sleep aid.
Sleep age. But I've always been harsh with a lot of parlor tricks or whatever else. But that's not to say that I wouldn't use them or try them and see if because I mean realistically we don't understand what's going on. A lot of this is all theory. So I mean, yeah, I mean it's possible that these are working. We simply don't know, right? So,
Mhm.
but whatever. Now,
What
now, Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the one things that I will say, because like the music box that I have, that thing seems to go off quite a bit. But
Yeah.
I know, like, I'll give something away. So, from something I have coming out, we were at my next video is at the Blackford County Jail. It's in
Okay.
Hartford City, Indiana. It's directly
Okay.
across the street from the Monroe House. If you've heard of the Monroe House.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So in that jail, there was a sheriff that was
Mhm.
appointed after this one sheriff basically like left or died of cancer. I can't remember. And he was appointed 4 days later, or he was appointed, and then 4 days later,
Yeah.
he died of a massive heart attack in his office right there in the jail.
Oh wow.
So I had a music box on this desk facing towards the other desk, which was the desk that he died at. And it started going off. And I said basically, hey, Mr. Townsend, if this is you, can you confirm this by making this ding or light up like 3 times, like ding, ding, ding? I mean, instantly after that, it went ding, 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 and then stopped. That stuff right there is like, okay, that's got to be something. That's not just some coincidence. That's where I believe these like REM pods or music boxes are like accurate and real, not just because it lights up for no reason, you know.
And again, I mean, you know, when you look at the theory, I mean, the theory is that they can manipulate, energy.
Mhm.
And of course, this is a sample of, or an example of the possibility that whatever may be there is manipulating the electricity or the energy that's omitting, right? Obviously.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I agree. Absolutely. But okay, so getting back to um Tommy amongst the tombstones. I mean, in the beginning, when you first started doing this, I mean, what kind of reaction did you get? When you
When I,
first start when you first started throwing out this, all the content, the paranormal content and all that. What kind of reaction were you getting?
as far as like the evidence that I would receive, is that what
Well,
you
not
mean?
the evidence, but the overall content that you were putting out. Like, you put an episode or something out, like an investigation or whatever that that you guys filmed and put together and put out in the beginning, and people were like, it's kind of like feelers, like, oh hey, this is pretty cool, and people were starting to say, hey, go subscribe to this guy's channel. This is pretty cool stuff. In the beginning, what was it like?
I mean, I know I was a lot different when I first started too. Like I
Yeah,
didn't give a shit. Like I removed a lot of my older stuff just
yeah,
because it's just like a lot completely different from the documentary styled stuff that I do now. They were more like
mhm,
vlogs.
yeah,
And I would be going in cemeteries, pounding beers, smoking cigarettes, not really giving a shit. At
yeah,
first, like I said, I told you, like I was like, this is cool, this is fun, but I don't really think the shit's real.
yeah,
And so I got a lot of flack when I first started, but like this kid has no respect. He's drinking and smoking in public cemeteries and stuff like that. So, at first, some people like the gimmick, like this guy's cool, he's different, like he's some kind of like punk kid going into these cemeteries doing that shit. But
yeah,
then I got a lot of flack from it too, like this guy is not credible, like he's a joke.
yeah.
And then, like I said, then when I started getting more like actual evidence and like when I would receive this stuff, it freaked me out at first. I was
Mhm.
like, there's no way this is going on. So then I started, like I said, taking it more seriously. And then, I started like, started watching other paranormal YouTube channels, ghost hunting shows. And I kind of got a better sense of how I kind of wanted to put my channel together, but still make it my own,
Yeah,
still be unique. I don't want to be just like the other guy.
yeah.
So yeah, like when I first started, like I kind of got a little bit of both from people, like, oh, this dude's cool, he's different. Then also got like, this dude's an asshole, he's a prick for going in these cemeteries doing that shit.
Mhm.
So that's kind of how it was when I first started.
Yeah, it's you know what, you can't please everyone. I mean, obviously, especially when you deal with the subject matter. I mean, I've noticed, I've I've been on the forefront of that for years. Yeah, yeah. It's like, but that's the thing. You have to have you can't have a thin skin doing this. You can't. because you're going to have people like scrutinizing everything that you put out there, especially with this. Oh, you faked this. Oh, you did this. You did that. And people don't realize. I mean, what do I stand to gain to fake? Oh, well, maybe a few subscribers or whatever. Again, it all depends on the format that you're in or whatever. In this case, say YouTube. It's like, oh yeah, it's just clickbait, and it's just it's edited in, and it's just to get viewers and blah blah blah. And you hear that quite often, and I see that quite often with a lot of these channels, and it just seems to be, I guess, a part of the drama, if you will, of having this content on YouTube or any format, that people are always going to create drama and try to make life a living hell for the content creators such as yourself and everybody else that does it. And I guess it really becomes havoc, if you will, the more noticed you become. I mean, have you noticed that now? Like, yeah, being a little bit more noticed than you were before, that you're having this sort of stuff creep out of the woodwork?
Yeah, I will say that the paranormal scene niche is probably the toughest niche or scene on YouTube, I would say, in my
Yeah.
opinion. It's extremely difficult. And I will say I've met some of the coolest people in my life through this field, but I've also met some of the biggest asshat, terrible
Yeah.
people through this
Oh, yeah.
field.
Oh, yeah.
It's always drama, always drama. You really have to have your mental state. You have to be in the right frame of mind to do this kind of thing. Not only from
Absolutely.
doing the paranormal side, investigating, but also being social and doing it, interacting with people on social media and on YouTube. Like you said, everyone scrutinizes you for anything you do. They're always watching. When I first started, it was all, like I said, I had some of the best times of my life when I first started paranormal. And it was so much fun. And now I
Yeah.
feel like it's more sort of a job than it
Yeah.
was just having fun in games, shooting these vlogs. Now it's like, okay, it's time to get serious. It's time to do this because, I rely on, not that I don't make hardly any money off this, and I don't give a shit about the money, but like, you have to be careful of like what you're putting out on YouTube because
Yeah.
anyone will judge you for it.
Absolutely.
And anything that you say online, I've learned my lesson. I used to give my 2 cents on Twitter all the time. I would bullshit on there. And you say one little wrong thing on Twitter, there goes your career.
Yeah.
People will come
Oh,
for
yeah.
your throat. I've learned that the hard way. And,
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about it anymore. Like, I let people talk their shit and just move on. Nowadays, I just focus on the paranormal and my content. That's really all I do. So yeah, it's been a long journey, and I try to be as nice to people as I can, but sometimes it gets rough, and there's nothing you can really do about it. You kind of have to like just hold it in and just kind of like
Yeah.
turn the cheek, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely going to get your share of that. I mean, I know we have we have over the years. So yeah, it's definitely
I will say this too. I will add this. And the thing that frustrates me is because it seems like nowadays no one gives a shit about the evidence or where you're at. It's the name. If you got lucky and got big, people are watching those videos. You could have they could have a terrible investigation. Some of these times, these bigger channels that I'm watching, I'm like, they're not getting shit in this. But they're getting all the views and everything because of the name, the brand. But you'll watch another channel that's small and they're getting shit going crazy, but no one cares because they're not that said name. And that's what drives me crazy. It's like, I don't watch the stuff because of the name. I watch, if I do like their content, I'm going to watch it. But like, if they're getting crazy stuff, I don't care if they're just started their channel. That's awesome to me. And I feel like more people need to understand that and realize that like, it's not about the name. It's about what's actually happening in the video.
I completely agree with you. I mean, that's why if I do watch, because I mean, I have a really hard time watching a lot of this stuff now, a real hard time.
It gets repetitive after a while. We'll say
repetitive or whatever else. It to me, a lot of it, it's not. Yeah, exactly. It's not about forwarding the what's could actually be going on here, and trying to explain it, or a step one step closer to trying to explain something that for a century or more has been like, well, modern century, whatever. It's been haunting us for a long time, longer than that. But I mean, that we've actually been, investigating what's known as the paranormal on a serious level. And it's automatically, well, science is, trying to explain this and they can't explain it, and that's fine. But we have to also remember that science is man-made; it's fallible too. It can't explain everything. It could try, and that's where the theories come into play. Right. So, people will run away with these theories and say, well, look at this is what they say about this. So this has got to be that. And probably take it out of context. And it doesn't even make sense a lot of the times. So, yeah. It's you see, but getting back to what you were saying, I totally agree. I totally agree that it doesn't matter the name, the brand, or whatever else. If somebody's putting out some quality stuff, something that really makes sense, I'm I'm gonna watch it. I'm definitely gonna. I mean, that's why, like, I can't remember where I was. I was in somebody's live, and they said, "Oh, Tommy Tombstone's coming on." And I'm like, Tommy, the name. I'm like, hey, I got to check that out. Tommy Tombstone. That's pretty cool. And, that's when I, saw the premiere. I'm like, hey,
was that Jasmine Bad Cat stream?
It might have been. Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, it might have been Jasmine's. And I'm like, wow, this is actually really cool. Like I said, the presentation really got me. And I said, this is really cool. And then when I went back into looking a little bit about what you were doing, and with a horror background and filmmaking background, and I automatically it resonated, because I said, look at this is what I was doing, and it's like a newer wave, a new wave, and I thought, well, this is really cool, because to me, when you're taking the time and presenting it the way you are, to me that is more important than somebody exactly who is saying, look at, um you know I don't really have too much here, but hey, we're just going to walk through this old abandoned haunted house or whatever, and really nothing happens, or it doesn't really matter if anything happens. People are going to watch it because of the name and the brand.
Yep.
Right. So yeah. And that was just one heck of a long diatribe. So, but in short, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. So I mean, when you look for, okay, so inspiration, okay, so I understand that the horror movie, the filmmaking background, but I mean, with the paranormal, what else inspired you? What do you take to find inspiration to sort of further your kind of quest?
I don't know, just watching. Are you talking about the filming aspect or like investigating?
On a whole, yeah, investigating your whatever you present as a whole.
I guess watching other people.
Yeah.
Shout out to my good friend Zach from Blood Moon Paranormal. He was one of the first few people that I met and became friends with in the field, and I've always admired his work. Amazing editing. If you haven't checked out his channel, you definitely should. He does a phenomenal job.
Is that what is it, Blood Moon?
Blood Moon Paranormal, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched his stuff, and I've always was like, man, this dude can edit, and he does a phenomenal job. And then watching other channels, like Paranormal Quest, like I was mentioning earlier, love the way they edit their videos and put it together. The cinematography is amazing and on point. And then that's more of like a cinematography aspect or like editing. But then I like watching other channels too and seeing like different techniques for investigating. Like I've watched different shows or just random YouTube channels and be like, hey, that's a cool idea, I should try it. There's another channel, Dark Arts TV. from
I
from
just
England.
recently started watching that.
He does some cool stuff in his videos. Same thing with Proven Demons.
Andrew,
Andrew,
Yeah.
he's a funny guy.
Yeah.
I like watching some of the stuff they do, just outside the box kind of stuff, techniques. Like I think it was Andrew gave Randy and I the idea to do that manual radio stuff we've been doing, and I accidentally came across that radio years ago, and just recently started using it in the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 months as for investigations, and it's been crazy how much responses we get out of that.
Another one, I don't know if you ever watch it. It's out of the UK as well, as Ouija Brothers.
I've heard of them. I don't know if I've watched them, but I've definitely heard the name.
Presentation wise, they do they do a phenomenal job. I mean, the editing, the graphics, the whole 9 yards. They do a really, really good job. Really good job. Hold on, let me just see here. Okay, so we're going to take a short break here for the New Visions Radio Network. When we come back, more with Tommy Tombstone. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to us here on the New Visions Radio Network, and of course, watching us here on our YouTube channel. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Good evening. I'm Richard Palmisano, the founder of the Searcher Group. It's a paranormal company, the oldest in Canada. I founded it in 1979, which not only makes me old, but makes me doing paranormal research and field work for just under 45 years now. I am also an author, researcher, and lecturer on the paranormal. I've written 6 books now. And I really enjoy coming on with Steve and Alex on Nocturnal Frequency Radio, as well as listening to the shows, because there's a lot of interesting guests there. I like it, looking at this stuff, because it's it opens your mind to other options and other alternative thoughts. And, there's always time to learn new things. So I hope you join us and come and see Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Thank you.
So let me ask you, what makes for good radio?
My 5 favorite songs all day long.
Play it again.
No.
As many commercials as physically possible.
What? No, why would that be good?
Great music, great talk shows, no commercials.
Precisely. New Visions Radio gives you no commercials, no nonsense, just the best new music and the best talk all day long, 24/7, 365. NewVisionsRadio.com.
Hey guys, Kristen here, host of the Paranormal Girl podcast, a bingeable exploration and deep dive education about the paranormal for the skeptical believer. Some of my past season topics have included shadow people, Mandela effect, demons, and UFOs. Currently, I am tackling Bigfoot. I have been sharing this journey with my audience since early 2021, and I have learned a lot these last few years. It's truly a mysterious world out there beyond our perceptions, and reality is just not what it seems. I have also, since the start, met some awesome folks like Alex and Steve, and I've really enjoyed watching and learning from them and also joining them on their show. Their guests are always outstanding, their listeners are just the coolest, and these hosts are some of my favorite people. I recommend their show to anyone looking for an intelligent and fun conversation about the paranormal amongst friends. So join me on my investigation, join Steve and Alex on theirs, and enjoy. Now back to the show. You are watching Nocturnal Frequency Radio.
All right, welcome back to Nocturnal Frequency Radio here live on the New Visions Radio Network, and of course here on our YouTube channel. And we're back with Tommy Tombstone. Again, thanks for joining us, man.
That sounds like a wrestler name, though, dude.
To be honest with you. Wrestling.
That's funny you say that, because I actually, when I was little, I always wanted to be a wrestler. I grew up watching wrestling. I've actually been watching it a lot recently too, which is kind of funny you said that.
Wrestler.
Well, hey, doesn't it? It kind of has that ring to it.
Well, yeah. I'm just trying. Well, with the Undertaker and what was his name? Yeah. Paul. What was the manager's name? Paul Bear.
Paul
Bear.
Yeah.
Paul Bear. So, Tom, you're Michigan based, right?
Yes. Born and raised Michigan.
So you're our neighbor to the south. But
southwest.
There was one inspiration that I took actually out of Michigan. I don't know if you know about these guys. They've been around. Well, they're kind of on the last leggage right now. A little podcast called Ghostly Talk.
Ghostly Talk. No, I've not heard of that one.
No, it has been going since 2002. And in the beginning, there used to be, 2 hosts, and I'm telling you, they did an amazing job. And literally, they would do what a lot of people do now on YouTube. They would go out, do an investigation, and then they would come back and talk about it through a podcast, an audio podcast, right? And, you'd sit there and listen to them and what they experienced. And if they got anything, they play it, blah, 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 and so on and so on. They became so popular that they ended up on Coast to Coast with not Art Bell. It wasn't wasn't on there anymore with George Snorri. I don't know. Are you familiar with Coast to Coast?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yep.
Yeah. So they became pretty damn popular. But anyways, I just thought I'd throw that out there since you're Michigan based, that you might have knew them. But they haven't really had a presence in quite a while, though. I mean, it's just the one girl now that's doing it, but the original hosts are no longer doing it. So, yeah.
No, I know I've been on a couple Michigan-based podcasts.
Yeah.
One was like Grand Rapids Ghost Hunters
Okay.
podcast out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. And then, of course, my buddies from What Goes Bump in the Night, they have a podcast.
I'm familiar with that one.
There's like one or two other ones. I can't think of the names, but I've been on a couple based out of Michigan for sure. But I've never heard of them, ironically.
Yeah. Like I said, it's been. I think they kind of retired it in 2009. Yeah, 2009, and they kind of came back out of retirement and kind
Well,
of.
that makes sense. I mean, I didn't even start doing this till like 2020. So
exactly, and
Yeah.
they kind of came back, but didn't really have the kind of same presence that they did when they were first going. But so, what are your thoughts about the Michigan paranormal scene?
It's far in between. I mean, when I first started, I met. Well, actually, I was doing this haunted cemetery, and I did the investigation there, and I met a guy, and he has a YouTube channel now. His name is Drew.
Yeah.
And he well, actually, because it was funny how it worked out, because I did that investigation at the cemetery, put out the video, but as I was doing it, I watched this other video before doing it about it, which happened to be his. And then he saw my video and was like, "Hey, I saw you did the place that I did. Are you interested in doing a collab?"
Yeah.
And so I did. It was the first collab I did, and he only lives like 40 minutes from me. So we did this other little cemetery, and it was pretty wild. And that kind of branched out into doing this little jailhouse thing.
Yeah.
Probably about 20 minutes from my house here, and it introduced me to another guy. Who's in a group called Southern Michigan Paranormals, and they've been around since like early 2000s. And he's been doing paranormal for like 20, 30 years, whatever the hell it's been. And I learned a lot from him. I kind of considered him my mentor. So I learned a lot of techniques and ideas and stuff from him. And then I have another buddy that has a YouTube channel that's been doing Michigan-based paranormal stuff. Afterlife Road Productions. Ben does great stuff. He's been doing it for a long time, and he's still young. He's younger than me, but he does mostly just Michigan-based stuff. So I learned a lot of Michigan locations from him, and that's about it. Like, as far as Michigan-based paranormal teams, there's not really too many that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's like I said again, that kind of changed it, because I remember when we started, when I started the radio show, we had one of the guests that we regular, actually, he was from Michigan. Michigan, what were they called? The Michigan Ghost Hunters. I think they're the Michigan Ghost Hunters, right? Dino's group, right?
Which one?
Dino.
I think it was. Yeah, I think that was
Michigan Ghost Hunters. I believe they were called, but I don't think they're really doing too much anymore. But it seemed like there was a lot, but that's the thing. I mean, there's such a high turnover that people will do it and then just they lose interest.
One hit wonders.
Yeah,
hit wonders. There was a team that like I talking about that little jailhouse I did. They did a whole bunch of stuff around here that we've kind of done or wanted to do, and they don't even exist anymore. They were around for maybe like a couple of years, and they're one and done kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
And that's the thing about Michigan. Michigan is a very haunted state. There's a lot of awesome locations around here. But the funny thing is, it's more like under the table type stuff. You have to really know people and have connections to do it, which I've gotten a lot of connections through Dan from Southern Michigan Paranormals and stuff. Because if you look at Michigan, there's not that many paid locations. Like, luckily, I live in Southwest Michigan, so if you look at the Mitten, I live like right down here.
Yeah.
So I go into Indiana.
Close to Indiana. Yeah.
Indiana is insane with haunted locations, so I do a lot of stuff down there too. But Michigan has a bunch. It's just more like low key. You kind of have to know someone to get into these places, rather than all these other states where you have like paid locations.
And do you find that it's a lot easier to get into the locations in Indiana? Say that, because I know you're saying low key, but I mean, is it what people just don't want to broadcast that we have a haunted place here, sort of thing?
Well, just Indiana has a lot of really haunted places that, like,
Yeah.
you know, people know about that
Yeah.
you have to pay for. So it's easy. Yeah, you have the money. Yeah, anyone can come in here as long as you have the
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
But those little places that are like no one, it's just under your nose. You kind of have to know Bob Johnson that works here that knows this dude that,
Yeah.
you know, it's one of those type of deals. And I've luckily had a lot of connections. And just from doing, like, we just did a oddity shop here in Michigan, probably like 25 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
And just from doing that, you know, we got a little bit of activity. I made a little reel for them and I think it kind of helped them out with their business.
Yeah.
And from doing that, I made a connection with someone else that was like, hey, there's a team coming to your place. We want you to check out our tattoo shop. So this Friday, we're doing a tattoo shop / like Masonic Lodge. So, you know, you make connections from just doing little stuff like that. And you kind of get yourself out that way.
You're going to have some ears perking up in chat with the Masonic Law.
Wait, why is that?
One of our good buddies, Jeremy Crow in chat. And Alex.
Are they Freemasons?
Can we investigate your lodge, Alex, please?
I've actually done 2 Masonic lodges in the past, and they were both haunted as fuck. So, I mean, just nuts. One of them actually terrified me so much I said I would never go back, but I definitely want to go back now.
You know, there's Alex, I've been meaning to tell you this. There's this old Methodist church that has been taken over by the Masons. And
Where?
Hamilton.
Oh.
It's actually Governor's Road. I think it's on Governor's Road, and this place it's a really old Methodist church. I mean, it's early 1800s, and you know, the place is all, you know how it is. It's all the windows are all blacked out now and everything else, and it's just an oddity, and it just seems so out of I don't know. Seems out of place for a Masonic lodge.
In a church?
No, not in a church, but in just the area.
Oh,
like this church is like in a neighborhood, like just a sleepy little neighborhood.
Yes and no. I mean, the lodge here in the town where I live in is nestled within a subdivision. So,
for strategic reasons.
That's right. You can't take over the world if you don't live around people, right?
Oh yeah, exactly. So what about your favorite locations? What do you prefer? Do you prefer residential or do you businesses? What do you prefer in terms of, you know, what you seem to get the most out of?
Man, that's a crazy question. I've only done a few residentials, actually only 2. That one I just put out was my second one, which was absolutely insane, probably the craziest one I've ever done, ironically. But then we did one residential before that, and it was weird as hell too. And it was all like random. It was just on the spot. It just happened. It's a long story, but it was weird. So residentials are cool because you just don't really know shit about it, and it's just like, it's just a random suburban home that you're doing stuff in that you don't expect. But as far as what places I feel like are the most haunted is like the ones that I think you expect the least. So I guess residentials I mean, I like houses. To me, people live there. You know, that's where they spent most of their time. All the energy is kind of sucked in and absorbed into the walls. You have that residual energy built into the house.
Yeah.
So I think houses. I mean, jails are cool. I really like jails. I've only done 2. I've done all kinds of stuff, but I think like the houses is probably my favorite. I don't know why, they just are the creepiest to me.
But with
like
houses,
mansions.
Yeah, with houses though, I find they're a little harder to. I mean, depending on what you want to do with the content, like obviously, a lot of people don't want you to share the information or findings or whatever else. They want it kept private, right? Especially with residential. I mean, there's the odd person that says, "Oh yeah, I don't care what you do. That's fine. I don't care if you let people know my house is haunted." And then they get a flood.
I'm talking about, like, I'll tell you right off the bat, the 2 creepiest places that probably freaked me out the most is the Monroe House.
And a lot of people say that about the Monroe House. Yeah.
Monroe House freaked me the hell out. I've been there twice. Second time was the worst. I I said I would never go back. I said, fuck this place. Again, that's another one I would go back, but it terrified me. And the other one is the Hinsdale House in New York.
Ooh, that's a
terrifying.
place that's on my bucket list.
Oh, you definitely got to go there. It's one of, I don't know. It's yeah. It's
a lot of
special.
people say that.
The land, it's the land, man. It's not just the house; it's the freaking land. It's nuts.
A good friend of ours we've had on the show a few times, Alex, talks about the Hinsdale. Tim Shaw. You know,
it's a good one.
Yeah.
And it's tiny. It's tiny, but you got that whole property. You feel like you're just secluded. You're in the middle of nowhere. That's what it's crazy.
But I'll tell you that part of New York State, there's a lot of crazy stuff there. Lot of, you know, the oh God. I mean, you have Rolling Hills. A lot of people are like, Rolling Hills. Have you been to Rolling Hills?
But New York is the farthest I've gone for an investigation.
Oh yeah,
to the Hinsdale House, and I did another place called Chase Manor. Never heard of that one. Definitely check that one out. It's
Chase
not
Manor
as well
sounds familiar.
It's haunted as shit.
if you do have your passport, I could show you a place that's really crazy.
What is it called?
It's called the Spruce Lane Farmhouse. Alex,
where's it at in Canada?
It's
close
about.
To ours.
Sorry,
it's close to you, Steve.
Yeah, it's close to us, but I mean, it's I'd say roughly about 45 minutes from the border with Buffalo, New York. So for you, you're in south. You said southwest.
Yeah, Southwest Michigan.
So it would probably, I'd say probably maybe about a 6-hour drive, give or take.
Well, luckily for you, I have my girlfriend lives in Canada.
Oh,
she's
there you go.
For a paranormal team. So
I'll
probably be in Canada eventually here soon.
Well, if you're interested, just let me know because
I mean, like the only locations I know like the Beck House.
Yeah.
There's like a jail. What is that jail called?
Don Jail or the Kingston Pen?
No.
They don't really do
Ottawa.
There's Ottawa jail. There's the.
I think that's
Ottawa. Ottawa lets you do the sleepover sort of thing.
It's a hostel.
It's a hostel, but I mean,
converted to a hostel.
Kingston Pen, you can kind of like I put in a request. I went pretty far with them to get a request and to do an investigation there. And it's not that they won't allow it. The timing has to be right. And
they do a lot of tours there.
They do a lot of tours there, and they do have like a ghost kind of walk there as well. So it's really tough, but it's not. I don't think it's impossible. I think it's only a matter of time before we're able to get in there. There's a lot of pretty cool places, but again, we're talking about lesser known, small kind of. Let me play this for you, Tommy. I've played this a million times. But let me get your thoughts on this. And this was
a million.
For some Canadians, I don't really hear the accent.
Because we're not really that Canadian.
I wasn't even born in Canada. I was born in.
No, he wasn't. But I was. You don't hear a lot of. You don't hear a lot of the a about. That's more Eastern, I think. Where are we? Okay, so let me make sure I get the right version of this so you can get the whole kind of justice.
Oh yeah, so Tara in the chat. She's from Toronto. You guys should have her on your show.
We're always looking
from Canada.
We're always looking for new people, and Tara, we'd love to have Tara on. That'd be great. We're always looking for local people too as well to come on. We love doing dark discussion round table discussions with local people. So Butters would love to be on the show too. Well, you guys are all welcome. Okay,
hey, just send an email to us, nocturnalfrequencyradio@gmail.com.
or just message us on our Facebook or whatever. But yeah, it's we're always looking for new people. So this was captured at this Spruce Lane farmhouse, and this was this had sat in the vaults for like 10 years before I discovered it. And when I discovered it, I was like, wow. And I do remember it. Anyways, I had my camera guy do a visual walkabout of the house before we started our investigation. So visually document the house. And upon going upstairs to the bedroom level of this old farmhouse, he centers in on this painting of a child in period piece. And as he stops, you can hear us downstairs in the kitchen, but then again, you hear something else. I'll play it here on this.
And this is what you just like were randomly looking over this video again. You're like, oh shit!
I totally missed it the first time that I captured this, and then I went back 10 years later to do a special documentary on the 10th anniversary for them. And then when I was going through the footage, I'm like, how did I miss this? Right? But here you go. Here you go.
Was it the voice, the girl voice?
Mm-hmm. And I brought
that
it
was
up.
like someone like singing almost.
Yeah,
it sounded like.
Isn't that insane?
Do you know what it's saying? Could you make out what it's saying?
You know, it's funny because I've had several different variations. You know, it sounds German, it sounds French. I think it's French. And actually, we just had somebody on not too long ago that speaks French, and kind of said it kind of sounds like reciting something in French or singing in French, which kind of makes sense in a way. But then I'm thinking about the family that lived in the house; they weren't French. So, which kind of makes it a little even more intriguing.
I heard it right off the bat. I was like, that's a lady, like a girl's voice, like singing almost.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like to me. And it's clear as day.
Clear as day. You can hear the rhythm, you know, the melody.
And was there any like females that was investigating that night?
Not there,
like
not there with him. He was by himself upstairs. And you know, you could hear us kind of muffled in the background downstairs, but not clear like that. It was just
no, that's like right in the room, room behind him.
Right. And children wise, I mean, we're talking. It sounded like, you know, wow. Jeremy, we have played it backwards. Jeremy wants me to play it backwards. I don't know. Do I have? I think I have the backwards version of it.
I was gonna say like "Hail Satan" or something.
It would be.
It's actually gonna sound German if you play it backwards.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Let's see. Actually, I think I do have it. Let's see here.
There's got to be like some, and I don't know. I know there is, but some software where you can like clean it up and maybe like remove all the background noise and just separate that, make it more clear.
Well, there is, and we have. There's AI. There's AI editing stuff that cleans it right up. But I don't think I have it here. File. No, I don't think I have it. I have it somewhere. I don't know where it's gone to, but yeah, basically, even the cleaned up version, it's like, wow, okay, you just really hear the melody a lot. It's more forthcoming. It's quite intriguing. But there you go. There's a sample of the Spruce Lane. It's an interesting little place. So
yeah,
some girl talking.
That's a capture right there.
Yeah.
Someone speaking in Old English.
I mean, Alex, you like he's been there, and he had a little incident happen there.
Sorry, I had to swallow that. And go down right. But yeah, I went there a couple of times, but the one time that Steve was referencing was when I was feeling ill already to begin with. I had a cold, and we went into the investigation. And at some point in the night, I started feeling even worse, and it didn't. I said this before. I'm not psychic at all. Probably as just psychic as this, right? But I didn't attribute it to the house because I was already sick. So I figured I was just getting worse. And I just said, okay, fine. I'm getting worse. I'm going to sit down at the foot of the stairs and just sort of chill out while Steve and everybody else continued the investigation. When we were done for the night, we went out. And as soon as we left the house and we went outside, I started feeling a lot better. And that's what kind of made it weird because, I mean, I was still sick, but I went back to the way I was before as soon as we left the house. So that was kind of a weird scenario. And that happened to not just me, it happened to Gord as well, right, Steve?
Yeah, it happened to another person. And we brought in, a really good friend of ours who is, well versed with the paranormal as well. He actually, he had a professional trimeter that he uses, and he had it in that area, and it lit up like there was no tomorrow, and there was no explanation for it as to why it was lighting up. There was no, panel box, electrical sort of anything in that area, direct area that would have, caused it to go off the way it did. It was quite insane. So it kind of, I guess, explains why they might have got sick in there. But why is that those were the only two people that sort of affected. It doesn't really affect everybody. So it was kind of,
and it only affected me the one time.
Yeah,
because I've been to that location a few times. It was only during the one time when I was already feeling ill, and maybe that's part of the reason because I was feeling sick already to begin with.
Yeah,
it just made it worse.
Exactly.
All the other times that I'd been to that location, it was fine. Even at the same spot where it all happened, I was fine. Nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
Now I'm starting to hear more of the accents.
There you go. Now you're focusing on it. Now you're focusing on it.
I was the same way too. Tommy, I don't hear you don't sound like you're from Michigan.
I don't. Tara tells me that I have like a southern accent.
Yes, you do.
You kind of have,
which is really funny. I mean, I have a lot of families from down south, but
yeah,
you have kind of a slight southern drawl.
Yeah,
not
southern drawl,
not drastic, but just a little bit.
It's so weird. It's so weird. I guess it's certain things I say. I definitely don't have like a Michigander accent, I guess.
You go down to say New York State. If I go down to New York State and you really like, even in Buffalo, you really got this. Wow, it sounds different than if you were to go to, say New York. You don't really get that, but you kind of get it, but it's not as thick as if you go to like Rochester or Buffalo. In between there, you're like, oh man, you can tell where this guy's from, right? And then you go to somebody who's in Michigan, same thing. You have that kind of you have that that sound, and it's really different from somebody from New York. And again, like if you were to go to say Chicago or surrounding Indiana, do you find a kind of a different sort of, do you find a difference there at all?
Not
really.
See, I mean, like we call it like pop in Michigan.
Pop?
Here in Michigan, pop instead of like soda.
Yeah,
that's like a Michigan term.
That's how
if you go more up north, though, like you get more into like the Yankee territory, like the more into Canadian kind of accents up there, like the UP and everything.
Yeah.
So I've never been to the UP.
Tara wants you to say pitch black.
I know she does. So I don't know why she wants to say that. I say it like pitch black.
There you go.
there
Really,
you go.
it sounds really southern, I guess, when I
Yes,
say
it does.
that.
Or you can go to like say Fargo or North Dakota, Minnesota. Then you really get into the they've been hanging around with the Canadians too much.
I don't even know what's in North Dakota. Like, why anyone would live there is beyond me.
Snow.
That's just my opinion.
Snow, yeah. people think we get it bad here, and even in parts of Michigan, because you guys
Buffalo gets pummeled.
But Buffalo, holy crap, man.
But that's just Mother Nature trying to clean out the armpits.
The armpits, yeah. The armpits. Poor Buffalo. There's a lot of cool places in Buffalo, though. I
Sure there is.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool places.
All the cool places are best left untouched.
Iron Island Museum.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good place, Tommy. Right.
That was a cool place.
Iron Island Museum.
Where's that at?
It's
in Buffalo.
It's right in Buffalo. It's in the Lovejoy area, which is I think west is considered west. Yeah, west of Buffalo. Yeah, west of Buffalo.
I know, like Hinsdale House and stuff. That's like 7 hours. 7 hours from me.
Yeah, that's way.
It's a haul.
Yeah. Yeah, that's quite a distance. It's probably about maybe a 3-hour drive for me. Maybe not even 2 or 3 hours.
Talking about the Hinsdale House or Iron Island?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hinsdale.
you Canadians have it easy. You just drop down, pinpoint wherever in the U.S. Like, it seems like every time Tara and them go to somewhere, they're like, it was only like 3 hours, 4 hours. I have to drill all the way this way or all the way that way. But the Midwest is great. The Midwest is great for haunted locations. It's
you got a lot in the Midwest, a shitload
Yeah.
in the Midwest, and it's further for us to go to the Midwest. There's a lot of pretty cool places out there. I mean, the furthest I've gone has been to Florida to
investigate
for a haunted. Yeah, but I mean. Like I said, I've been down to Kentucky. I've been down to.
Have you done the Octagon Hall there?
A good friend of ours has been asking us to do this. Pat,
it's cool. I went there last year. Yeah, it was last year. It was cool.
You like that place? Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely worth doing it.
I would really love to do the Bell Witch Cave.
Where's that at?
That's in it's in Tennessee. It's what the heck's the name of the I can't think of the town.
Tennessee is a beautiful state.
I'd
love to live in Tennessee.
I love Tennessee. I absolutely love it. But it's right there it's right in a small town, Adams, Tennessee. Do you know much about the Bell Witch?
I've heard a little bit. I think I watched a video, someone do an investigation there, but not too much.
The Bell Witch is a pretty intriguing. It's basically the only time in history, or at least I know American history, that is. I don't know. It could be world history that a ghost was found responsible for the death of a human being. Right. So I mean, it's an intriguing.
So this spirit killed someone.
Absolutely, they found it.
They're still serving a life sentence in jail.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but like how? Like, what is how do they
John Bell
give the brief or not the instant story, I guess.
So basically, this ghost, if you will, was well documented by the Bell family, and it basically wreaked havoc on that family, made them sick, all sorts of stuff, apparently. And in the end, John Bell had a heart attack, and they absolutely they blame the witch, and what they call the witch, the Bell Witch.
So they essentially, or the ghost scared the person to death.
Not kidding. Yeah, I know, eh? But it's in a court of law, believe it or not, that was considered an act of a ghost.
But what year was this?
Oh, we're talking what early, I think it was early 1800s.
Yeah, at least.
Something
Okay,
like
so
that.
If not earlier. Hold on.
I would have
Yeah.
guessed if you would have asked me like what era, I would have guessed like 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah, it was early 1800s, I believe, early 1800s.
1817.
Yeah. But the Bell Witch, as it's coined, was haunting that family for a long time, a long time. In fact, it would shapeshift. It would show up as a wolf. This thing would show up in various different manners and terrorize the family, in the home there. So I think it has a lot to do with. I think it's a lot of native sort of background there as well. But it's a really intriguing story. Like you
So
said,
what was it like in this house, and then what it haunts this cave now behind the house or something, or
they
like
they
what?
believe they believe the witch lived in what is known as the Bell Witch Cave, right? And this
Mhm.
cave is supposedly haunted by the Bell Witch, right? The homestead, the Bell homestead is no longer. It was destroyed, but there's like a make sort of like a reenactment sort of building that kind of gives you the history of the homestead and the story and so on and so on. But the Bellwitch Cave is still there. Obviously, it's still there.
And what, they
But
allow investigations in there?
that I don't know. I would probably say
Or is
no.
just one of the things that you just show up and do it?
Yeah, no,
So,
no. I mean, if you have proper permission, I'm sure they'll allow you to go in there um to do an investigation. But I
well,
again,
I mean, is it public property? Is it like, or
no,
is it like,
I think it is the state. I think basically takes care of it. I'm not too sure if it's the state or if it's privately owned. Still, I don't know.
I mean, so you could probably just like contact like local authorities or something around the area and be like, hey, we're wanting to do investigation. Just let you know if that's cool. We'll, letting you know that we'll be out there.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, if you're playing, like, if you were to do it, I mean, you're coming from freaking Canada. Like, you don't want to get there and be like,
well,
you
like I
get
said,
arrested or like,
I've got a good friend. Well, we've got a good friend, Pat Fitzhugh, who's written. He's an expert on the subject. And he would know. And again, this is something that I would love to, if I was able to get up to, because I wasn't in Adams. I would love, like, when last time I was down in Nashville, I'm like, okay, I'd love to head up to Adams for the day and go in and go in and have a look and blah blah blah. But unfortunately, from Nashville, it's about a 2-hour drive. So it was a little off the beaten track for me at the time to go there. But I would like to organize something and go there, and that would definitely be a bucket list of mine. Definitely, the
it
Bell Witch
sounds,
Cave.
I mean, I can't say I've ever investigated a cave. So
Exactly.
that'd be-
That in itself, that the fact that the possibility of some shit happening, that'd be, yeah, intriguing. It's not the norm. Yeah, exactly. It's not the norm. It's
no,
not, most people go into an old warehouse or business or residence or whatever. But never think about it like a cave. What's the
no.
possibility of some crazy old witch, haunting this
And
cave?
that's another place like cave. That would be a bucket list thing. It'd just be, like you said, bizarre, taboo. Another one, and being from Michigan,
Yeah.
I have yet to do, and I have tried reaching out, and they're like weird about it, is doing a lighthouse in Michigan. I've never done one. And there's a lot of haunted lighthouses
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Well, there's one that I've been wanting, that they will allow you. They allow you to do investigations. It's in Dunkirk, New York, and that's in between Buffalo and Erie. So I mean, for you, it would probably be maybe I don't know. Again, it'd be kind of a drive, but they do allow investigations. You could set it up, and I think they mostly do it during the summer and fall months, and then they close up for the winter. But another intriguing place I've been trying to organize, but unfortunately twice it's fell through. But there's a possibility if you're looking for a lighthouse that I know will allow you to go in and investigate. So that I know of a few people that have enjoyed and have found some rather intriguing findings, evidence, however you want to call it, in there. So yeah, lighthouses are cool. I mean, we got the Gibraltar, but you can't really
Point,
you can't really investigate it though. I mean,
No.
you can investigate the outside, but they won't let you inside. And it's only a small lighthouse. This thing's only small. But the one place I was able to do in Florida was the St. Augustine lighthouse. So yeah, lighthouses would be
Sorry, I was
pretty
lagging a
cool.
bit. I was trying to see swiping out of my
Oh.
swiping all the apps out of my phone and see if it would. And I think it worked because I run off my hotspot.
Oh,
But yeah, no, yeah, I that's been on my bucket list to do a lighthouse, especially one in Michigan because
Yeah.
it's my home state, and then doing a like submarine or like battleship because there's a couple around here that there's a couple submarines, but they're like my buddy used to do it that was in that team that he's been doing it for years.
Yeah.
But now they're like, I reached out and they're like, no, because it's starting to, they do like Boy Scout stuff there. And they're like, we don't want to freak out the kids. I'm like, dude.
Just get the kids involved.
Get the kids involved. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually a lot of time kids love that stuff, but
get them to hold the recorders or the camera.
You know what I find?
Those are two weird type of locations that I still want to do.
I find old schoolhouses.
Old schoolhouses.
They're pretty freaky. They're pretty freaky.
I'm actually looking at doing one. Yeah. I need to message them back, but yeah, I've kind of done one. I've done like a poorhouse museum.
Yeah.
Oh man, did I lag out again? Okay, am I still good?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Sorry, I'm. See if this helps.
Is there an issue?
Still yeah. Swipe out all this. Is it working better now?
Yeah,
you're fine.
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah, it even old mills. Yeah, you seem okay.
Maybe he's not hearing us well.
Let me try this.
We'll be back after this short commercial.
Oh.
All right, does it work? I switched back to my Wi-Fi. See if that works.
There you are. There you are.
What were you saying? You say something about an old mill? What?
Old mills I find are really intriguing as well. If you can find an old mill.
There's actually one here in Michigan. It's literally called the Old Mill that I've been dying to do. It's still on my list, and it's more up north. It's probably about 2 hours from here. That's apparently really good.
You know, one that
it's like a museum. It's like an old mill museum. Wait, go ahead.
There's one in Michigan that I was trying to get into, and unfortunately they had closed up and they're renovating it now. It's the old logger mill in Frankenmuth, Michigan.
Frankenmuth, that's where that base is, that the old fort.
No.
What is in Frankenmuth?
It's like
Ben, my buddy Ben did some stuff in Frankenmuth. I'm trying to think what's over there.
It's like
obviously there's a mill apparently.
Yeah, they got a mill there, and it's that's where they have like, it's like old. It's like little Bavaria. They're like the only place that's sanctioned. Oktoberfest, but that's where they have
Germany.
The world's biggest friggin' Christmas store there too.
That's what it is. Yeah. I remember Ben posting stuff about that. Okay.
Yeah.
I know there's some weird stuff in Frankenmuth. That's all I know.
Your friend there, Butters, is saying that you guys should investigate Gettysburg. Yeah, Gettysburg was another place
I
I was
mean
able to.
that's a bucket list, but like I know like there's like the Ginny Wade house there, but I know they overprice the shit out of it and scam people there with their money.
They do a
But
lot.
that's what I've heard. But I mean, just going there in general would just be so surreal. But I know you can't just like flat out start investigating the cemeteries there, right? Like that's a
No,
no.
no, they won't allow you to go into the onto the grounds or cemetery at night, because they have organized ghost walks and whatever else that they won't allow you to go in there without permit. Exactly. It's like if you were to go in there and you're walking on the fucking battlefields and hey, look at this, look at a shell, and you
Yeah.
take it. Yeah, they throw you in jail automatically.
And see, that's one of the other biggest reasons I don't do like as much bigger locations is because they just overcharge and gouge people.
Absolutely.
And I feel like half these locations, they don't care about the paranormal. They just want to take your money. It's just a cash grab to them. I'm not saying every one of them.
No,
because there are some places that actually care about the history and the location.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and if they're collecting money to put into the upkeep of the location, then I don't have a problem with that. But there's some people that it's become so popular that they kill you with the prices.
Well, I mean, it's like, dude, you can do the Monroe House, probably the most fucked up place I've ever been to, as far as like scariness and the haunting.
Yeah,
it's $175, dude. You get a full fridge of like drinks. They have snacks. $175 for a whole night. It's a freaking steal of a deal. But then there's this place that's like $600 for like 5 hours. It's like, dude, that's a ripoff, dude. Like just like
Waverly,
you're just gouging.
Thing.
It's like, dude, I'm not gonna pay that.
Yeah, Rolling Hills, they want you to pay $1,000. It's like, what? Come on.
It's unreal, man, and that's why I try to do all the under the table type stuff, because it's half the time they let you in for free and it more haunted. In my opinion,
you tend to get better results, I think, when you don't have to pay, or at
and
least
people
you don't
don't
have to
realize
pay.
Like if you're shooting a video, these a team, like I've been to a place like the one I shot this for this Scare Network TV that I did. Dude, we only got like 4 hours. That first 2 hours, we're shooting B-roll interviews.
Yeah.
And then we got to set up for the investigation. We probably only investigate like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
If you're shooting videos, like dude, it's a process. And these places don't understand that. They don't understand that.
And not only that, there's only certain things you can share that without breaking legal aspects too, right?
Yeah.
Some of these people, they won't let you shoot, like if you're profiting from. I mean, if you're throwing something out like content and it's free, okay, fine. They generally won't say anything because it's advertising for them, free advertising. But if you're like profiting from it, then they're gonna go, okay, well, we want some money here. Otherwise, you gotta pay us. We're gonna sue you, sort of thing. And I know,
or even some of these places, they won't even let you in unless you're like a bigger name or TV show or something.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was gonna have some flack when I shared some stuff from Waverly, but no, they were actually all right with it.
Well, I know what people told me at the Conjuring House. You have to have the specific story and the history of the place, or they'll be like, no, we have to approve this for this to even go online, or you can get sued. Like you'll fined and sued.
And it doesn't surprise me with a place like that, because it's such.
I will tell you, I have no plans of going there unless someone invites me for free, because it seems it's such a hassle and it's overrated. I've heard it's a mediocre haunting. Mediocre as hell.
That in the price. I mean, you look at the price of that place. I think I was looking at it. Was what is it? $1,100.
It's a franchise, man. Look at the Conjuring series. It's a fucking franchise.
Yeah. Exactly. So
I have no plans of ever going there unless someone's like, "Hey, Tommy, we pay for the place. You want to come with? Sure, why not?"
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not. Like I said, I agree. I'm more for the smaller, lesser noticed, because I find you do find more meaningful stuff, and they tend to surprise you a lot more because they haven't been over
The
exposed.
same questions asked 1,000 times over and over. It's like,
Yes.
dude, I've heard this question 1,000 times. Why? I'm not answering this. Like, if they're like, but when you're brand new and no one's ever came to your place, you're like, yeah, you're gonna want to talk to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the way I look at it. It's like, I don't want to see Bob Joe asking how I died for the 17,000th time.
Yeah, there you go. $10,000 if you're released with approval. Incredible.
Yeah, there you go.
Incredible. It's not like they don't make enough money as it is, but whatever. That's just the way it goes.
That's why I said I have no interest. Like, if they're gonna be, screw them. In my opinion, screw them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You save, you have to sign these contracts, waivers, and so on and so on. And then, a lot of people, they sign them, but they don't read them. And then they go and release something. And all of a sudden it's like, well, hey, guess what? You signed a waiver, you signed a contract. You need to take this down. Otherwise, we're going to sue you for X amount of dollars. Right. So there you go. It's all there you go. It's an extra $600 to film.
They can go screw themselves for all I care.
Exactly.
At that point. And yeah, Butters, that's the one I was talking about. USS Silverside. They don't want anything to do with it anymore.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I tried.
There's a lot of places like that.
Talking about the submarine stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of places like that. They open the doors and something bad happens or something. I mean, you ever heard of the Hiram Walker Ranch? And again, same thing. They invited some people in, and they didn't think the people they were inviting in were serious about investigating this and providing
boot.
Yeah. And providing them with some sort of information that kind of scared them off, and then they stopped allowing people to go back in there. That happens. Well, Tommy, the time has come. I want to thank you for coming on, dude. Really, really appreciate it.
No, it was fun. Thanks for inviting me and everything.
Yeah,
a lot of good conversations tonight.
I'm sure when we have a round table, we would love to invite you on.
No, I'm definitely. Just let me know, man.
Absolutely. And
I'm either editing, working, or drinking and doing nothing. So,
but keep up the good.
Nothing, hit me up.
Keep up the good work, dude. You're doing a good job. Really, really enjoying the stuff so far. So keep it up, and look forward to the new one, the next one, and just get whatever information you want out there to who might be listening and not watching on the New Visions Radio Network. Where can they find you? On YouTube.
Well, on YouTube, you can find me at Tommy Amongst the Tombstones. That's my YouTube channel. You can find me on Instagram. I'm really active on Instagram, Tommy_Tombstone. If you want to reach out to me there, you can find me there. I'm on Facebook, Tommy Amongst the Tombstones again. I think on Twitter it's like, or X is what they call it now. X,
yeah.
Tommy Tombstone _ I think it's on X. So either Tommy Tombstone or Tommy Amongst the Tombstones. You just search it, you'll find me. There's only one and only Tommy Tombstone. Just never forget that.
Awesome.
Anyone else is a fraud.
Well, yeah, dude, we'd love to have you back on for sure in the future, and we'll be keeping an eye, obviously, on your new stuff. So, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, no problem. It was
appreciate it. Take care.
Take care, Tommy.
Peace out.
Later. Awesome, man. Really, really enjoyed it. Real level-headed, and like I said, the content's really cool. I really, really enjoy, like I said, the way Tommy puts it out there for everybody to watch. So it's really cool. So like I said, the links there in the description on YouTube. Tommy Amongst the Tombstones is his YouTube channel. So if you're on YouTube, we highly suggest you go over and subscribe. Recommend you go subscribe. Like, if you haven't subscribed to us, subscribe. Help us hit the 1K.
That's not us begging, by the way.
No, we don't beg. Beg. What's begging? Beg. God, we're on the cusp. Dude, we're on the cusp.
I know. Like
So
26
close.
subscribers away.
Maybe we need to put more, like, I don't know, less live and more, I don't know.
More porn? I mean,
more,
less live.
More paranormal porn.
Paranormal porn.
Porn. It worked before, right? Paranormal
It did.
porn.
Skyrocketed the viewership of certain,
Oh, God. Yeah. What did I watched this? What movie was it? No, I can't remember. Watched so many movies lately. I can't remember the one I was wanting to talk to you about, but whatever. It'll come to me. But yeah, but I'm finding this a lot though on YouTube. And we kind of talked about it. Well, I kind of talked about it before. And said a lot of the yeah, definitely Butters. We'd love to have you on. We're, Tara, obviously Tara, same thing, we would love to have you guys on. In an upcoming show for sure. That'd be great. But what I was kind of talking about before was the fact that a lot of these content creators on YouTube, especially YouTube, other platforms as well, but YouTube, we'll take YouTube for instance. You know, you look at it. It's oversaturated. I find now and redundant and like, you got these pictures of whoever might be in the group and they're superimposed on top of some haunted location and they got the scary face like this, and they got the clickbait underneath. I was harassed by a demon, my first demon encounter, just to get you to click on it. When you watch it, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Mm-hmm.
What demon? And I'm not saying that about everyone. No, but there's a shitload of them out there. I'm not saying they're all like that. There is some really good content. And like I said, Tommy, who was on the show, I think does a pretty good job. He does a great job with the presentation. And it's I hate it when people automatically will tell you, it's a fucking demon. You're possessed, blah, blah, blah. Without, being level-headed about it, saying, it doesn't make sense. Thank you, Tommy. We really, really appreciate it. And yeah, definitely look forward to having you back on for sure. Absolutely. It was great. Great. And sorry if I don't want to say scared you off with our Canadian about.
Nah.
But yeah. Anyways, that great having you on. And again, if anybody would like to come on and be a guest, one of our upcoming, round tables, paranormal round tables, or whatever, you can get a hold of us at nocturnalfrequencyradio@gmail.com. Exactly, Tommy. Nocturnalfrequencyradio@gmail.com, or you can, go to our Facebook group, which is Nocturnal Frequency Radio. You can get us, contact us through there as well. But yeah, we'd love, or if you want to go down to the contacts, say something in the comments, leave a comment, whatever. If you want to come on, we'd love to have you on. We'll get it scheduled and let's do it. Always about we've had a lot of really, I don't want to say important people in the paranormal, but well-known people in the paranormal.
Yes,
we've had a lot of well-known people.
Not just the paranormal, but just in general.
In general.
Yeah.
Music, film, we've had a lot of people that a lot of people know. And it's like, oh, wow, that's cool. A lot of these paranormal shows, we've had people on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've had them on the show over the years, but I've always, and I think you're pretty much the same way. You know, intrigued by people that aren't so known.
Yeah. Well, they seem to have the coolest stories.
They have they have a really cool story to tell. Exactly, and we want to hear. You know, because you know a lot of these guys, a lot of these well known people, they regurgitate the same shit over and over and over.
Yeah.
You know, where like again, some of these content creators here on YouTube explore some really cool, a lot of cool places, and I've had some really cool stories to tell. You know, some really cool locations and experiences, and that's what we want to hear. That's what we want to share with our listeners and viewers here on YouTube, and so on and so on. So, yeah. But anyways, I think that's it for tonight. I want to thank Tommy Tombstone for popping in and being a part of the show this evening. Again, we'd love you have you back on the show. Everybody in chat, thank you for chiming in and hanging out with us this evening.
And if you're not currently subscribed, please hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, please subscribe. Hit the like button. Leave your comments in the comment section. And I don't know. I think next Sunday we're taking it off, right? Because it's Easter.
Easter, yeah.
Yeah. So no show.
Then I'll be on hiatus after that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You're gonna be. Oh yeah, you're getting close, buddy.
Yeah, I am.
You're getting close. The
Yeah.
shuffle. Then when you do come back, you'll be in the new
digs.
The new digs.
Yeah, but that might not be until the new season. I mean,
Yeah.
I might pop in here and there with my tablet and whatnot, but
Yeah.
That's
cool.
We'll see what we can do.
Cool, dude. All right. Well, yeah, no show next Sunday because of the Easter long weekend. But I'm sure I'll be back anyways the following week.
Yep.
And who knows, Alex might, who knows, throughout the
I may pop in.
He may pop in. So yeah. Until then, guys, take care. And again, thanks for tuning in and watching us here on YouTube and of course listening to us on the New Visions Radio Network. If you're listening to us on the New Visions Radio Network, you should pop in here to the YouTube channel so you get the full visual experience.
Yeah, so you can see our ugly mugs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And spot, talking about mugs, hit us up for some merch.
That's right.
Because I mean, whatever you buy goes into the show.
Yep.
It goes into the monthly paying of the show. It's 100% goes into the running of our show as well. So yeah, that's also important to us. So yeah, grab a t-shirt, grab a hoodie, grab whatever. I don't care. And if you do, take a picture, send it to us. You're wearing, or if you got a sticker or whatever, and you put it up somewhere. Yeah, let us know. Show us. We want to see it. Anyways, till the next time, guys, take care. And thank you for tuning in and watching us. Have a good one.
Have a good night.
Later.